students of Reddit, has anyone in your online classes had an oh shit moment after realizing their mic/camera was still on? If so, what were they doing? One of my classmates was talking to someone off screen about how shitty the class is and how stupid our lecturer is. Her mic and camera were both on. She was rambling for about 30 seconds when the lecturer just said her name. She just looked over at her screen, leaned forward a tad, then her eyes went wide and she covered her mouth. She immediately left the meeting. Haven't seen her in class since. This was 2 weeks ago. I'd never go back to. Just today, this one guy had some unholy screeching coming through the mic from elsewhere in the house. No context. He just had a mildly panicked look on his face and muted himself. Possibly a cat, a baby, or a parrot, or a horny fox outside. Probably a horny fox. During an all-school meeting, a teacher and his wife got in an argument and you could hear them yelling at each other. Is that mathematics teacher? Maybe head over to the relationship advice for more info. Not in my class. Someone was unmuted while they started talking shit about someone else in the class before the teacher muted them. In my class, someone's mom came in and started yelling in Spanish. It was awkward BC. At first the teacher thought she'd been trying to ask a question, so she said what and for quiet for a minute while everyone just listened. Oh my god, this happens too often. Someone's family member comes in, makes some noise, teacher stops and asks what and everyone sits and listens to weird ass personal converse. Brother walks in, sees they're in a Zoom class. Dude, you left your gross ass butt rash cream in the bathroom, tosses regular lotion at him, pick up your shit. And next time you clog the toilet, I'm not gonna plunge it, I'll just shit in your bed. Someone in one of our huge official department meetings was unmuted. You could hear her BF ask in the background, "What are y'all doing?" And she said, "Just this stupid meeting. We not doing she I eat." It was hilarious. She got kicked out of the meeting though. Lol, I love this. People will ask me what my calendar looks like, and I'll be like, well, it's packed, but I can probably skip that, and that and that and. So many meetings could just be emails or Teams messages. Sometimes I wonder how deep into meeting hell someone has gotten. What is the world record? Our maths teacher is terrifying, but doesn't really know how to work a computer. He was messing everything up and kept accidentally muting himself and stuff. Anyway, this girl in my class forgot to mute herself and basically spent a good 2 minutes dissing him with an impressive range of obscenities. At some point she realized that she was broadcasting her extremely low opinions of our teacher to the entire class. The teacher was very unhappy and the girl immediately left the class. I can't even imagine the pure hell of trying to do a group project remotely. I work 100% remotely now and will until at least next summer. It's tough. I get it. When I commented, I was thinking specifically about that one slacker in every high school/college group that doesn't show up to meetings, doesn't do any of the work, and still expects the good grade. Those types tend to get weeded out in the workforce. And if not, you can always passively aggressively send per my last email notes and CC the boss. It's about 20 times as frustrating as being in person, because we have to all swap whose turn it is to share screens instead of moving around a table or swapping papers. Edit. We're not actually doing a group project, just working on assignments together. My girlfriend told me a story of her taking an online Zoom pilots class at the beginning of everything shutting down. The Zoom meeting was set up in presenter instead of gallery mode, so whoever is speaking is on the main screen. She said in one of the poses someone farted and their camera popped up on the screen for everyone until the next instruction. Super awkward. Hello. This is your friendly AI acknowledging your fart and putting you up on screen so the group can enjoy the rest of your contributions. Good luck trying to blame another person for this one. I was browsing social media as one does in the middle of a lecture, then expressed surprise at something I saw on there to my GF. Little did I know my mic was on and the teacher stopped class to ask what I said. Holy shit, excuse me, I'm just really excited about history. Is it Napoleon or a happy to see me? Not exactly forgot the camera was on, but forgot their surroundings. Webcam starts up. And there's just a massive dildo on the bed beside where this person was sitting. Back behind them. I've never felt so badly for an instance of poor forgetfulness. Oh, that's just my dog's chew toy. Oh, that explains the leash, chains, whips, and cage. Teacher was teaching her online class, grinds, which are extracurricular. There was a ton of audio issues and people kept saying they couldn't hear him. Eventually he said that we would postpone the class to a couple days later, and that we could all leave the meeting now. Of course, I'm pretty sure this isn't the most tech savvy guy, so he didn't realize that most of us couldn't tell he said to leave. Audio issues again, and so we hung around a couple more minutes. Somehow, it was a lot more audible when he tossed his glasses onto the table and said, "That was a ducking disaster." I then realized that it was time to go. Poor guy lol. As a teacher I can empathize. This e-learning stuff is even harder on us than it is our students. I hate it so much. All the tech issues aside, it has created 3 times the work, and even after all that I know that for the majority of my students my lessons won't be effective and there is almost nothing I can do about it. I have never been as stressed and worn out as I'm now because of the remote learning. Edit. Thanks for all the kind words and awards. You guys rock. I'm sure I'm not the only one whose life/job/school has been made harder by everything. We are all in this together. Thanks for reminding me of that. Thank any teachers you know. Let them feel the love. Not in school, but a few years ago during online training for my job, our managers agreed we could do the training at home, since it was all remote anyway, and so it was a nice week working from home. During one of the sessions we heard what sounded like porn. Then it got louder and louder. Finally the presenter says, "Okay, we see who is unmuted." I'm not going to name names, but let's be professional here. The poor guy couldn't look any of us in the eye after we returned to work. I'm not going to name names, because we all see your name. Girl started to full on make out with her boyfriend. I mean under the shirt. Heading to third base type shit. Our professor has to beg her to at least turn off her camera. The way you said that. Poor professor. Please student. I do not wish to be horny anymore. Once my very adorable classmate sang happy birthday so cheerfully while our prof was discussing. She only noticed it when she came back to class and saw our reactions in the chat. It was her dog's birthday. She said then apologized for it. Oh shit too real quick. When my wife and I tried to sing happy birthday to our kitten when she turned 1. She thought we were yelling at her and ran away. We felt so bad, but we were also falling over laughing. Now when we sing to her we sing a lot more quietly. Well, pets really do differ in their behavior and their reaction towards their humans. This made me smile. BTW have a great day. My 7th grade daughter turned on her Zoom meeting for her very first class on her first day of school. Saw the face of the student who was currently talking and yelled, "Not Victoria. I hate Victoria." I asked her if her mic was muted and she looked at her screen horrified, slammed her laptop shut, ran out of the room yelling, "I quit school." It was a rough first day. It's so cringy for her yet so funny for us. Just yesterday, kid was talking to his friend about how stupid the class was. Teacher stops and waits for him to finish. It takes them a second to realize that it's silent now. He asks if they are done. "Sorry professor." Muted. Cue the text chat in the server dying with laughter at him. We made a Discord server for the class. Damn, I wish my class listened to my suggestions to create a class Discord server. Because most people assume Discord can only be used for gaming. My mate does it for a private school, and they had issues with kids anonymously drawing dick pics in group Zoom meetings. He changed some settings without telling the students, and so the next time it happened the artists' names were displayed against their next creation. Me and some classmates did something like this, but instead of drawing things we would use the color white to slowly scratch out words from the teacher's screen. Yes, me too. We were working on white documents with black text, so it was really easy. Sometimes we would do the entire text for like 2 seconds. I thought I had muted myself, and I was just doing my work and singing "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan, because I had it stuck in my head. Then I looked at my computer and realized I wasn't muted, and then quickly said, "Oh sorry, I accidentally unmuted myself," and the teacher said no worries, and I could hear her laugh a little. I wanted to curl up and just lie in a hole. Lol. To be fair, "I'll Make a Man Out of You" is one of the best Disney songs. I wasn't ashamed because of the song I was singing. No, that song slaps. I'm just insecure about my singing voice, lol. Not a teacher, but my wife is. She said that anytime she is in her class live stream, our 4-year-old will go use the potty and yell at her, "I'm done." Or anytime she smells something bad, she will come up and ask her, "Did you toot?" I asked her if she did, and that's why she is asking. She denies it, but I think otherwise. Yeah, I have a 2-yo. Many of my coworkers have heard her bust into the office yelling, "Mommy, I went poopy." I had a Zoom meeting with my entire department. One of my coworkers, who talks a little loudly to begin with, was talking about print and online deadlines for our magazines, and her 4-year-old daughter burst into the room and said, in the most authoritative tone ever, "Mommy, you need to be quiet. I'm watching a movie." We all chuckle a little and move on. Coworker continues talking, and not 2 minutes later, her daughter walks in again, gives her a glare, and says, "Quieter," before stumping out. It took all my self-control not to burst out laughing then and there. My church is still doing Zoom church. Apparently a guy didn't realize his wife was still in Zoom church when he stepped in full view of the camera, totally naked. I only know this because he said so. So luckily I don't think anyone noticed. We also have a time at the end for people to unmute themselves if they want to say hi. Someone unmuted himself, apparently thought it didn't work, and yelled, "I don't know how to do this shit." Apostrophe. There have to have been so many naked bodies that have passed in front of cameras at this point. I'm kind of surprised it's not in the news, but I guess it's not the kind of thing people tend to report. Just pretend it didn't happen. My coworker's 15-year-old son walked through the background of our weekly all-hands meeting in boxers or shirtless literally every week from when we started in March till I went on maternity leave in July. Apparently the path from both his room and their garage/gym to the bathroom took him past the room where my coworker had set up his workspace, and the kid would finish his morning workout at the same time as the meeting. Just yesterday had a classmate that was dead asleep. Like, head bobbing, open mouth asleep. This went on for about 15 minutes before he woke up, noticed the camera was on, and quickly turned it off. It was too late. The prof had already made some remarks, and the lecture's recorded for later viewing. This morning one of my students was out cold in less than 5 minutes after he logged in. He was on camera, in bed, camera framed on his head on his pillow. Not a student, but a few months ago we were on a Zoom meeting about the release of a big project me and the rest of the dev team have been working on since January. I was muted, as 90% of the folk in the meeting, and I was bored. So I started scrolling and seeing the faces of everyone that had their cameras on. A lady was watching the meeting with her webcam on, and her husband walked in naked from the bathroom. Her face was unforgettable. She immediately turned her cam off. Just me and another coworker noticed the incident. Naked and afraid. We had a girl that had constant mic and video issues, and when her mic did work it was always out of sync and she would never respond on time to answer a question. The one time her mic was actually on and working, she was singing to herself in the background and she wasn't responding to the teacher calling her name, so we just muted her for the rest of the class. In her defense, if her internet sucks to the point everything is out of sync and not working, then she can't respond to a question on time. This is a really shitty time to have bad internet, and you don't even have to be super rural to have satellite be your only option. I accidentally did this to my daughter. She was participating in a Zoom Uni tutorial. Half an hour earlier I had started trying to fix our clothes dryer which had stopped spinning and was giving off a burning smell. I took the dryer apart and after looking up several YouTube videos managed to fix it. I was so proud of myself I burst into my daughter's room and said, "Guess who fixed the dryer?" Me with my arms spread out wide. My daughter was mortified and said, "Mum, I'm in a uni lecture." Afterwards she told me the professor told her to tell me she was very happy that I was so happy I fixed the dryer. Great job in fixing the dryer. It's me. I'm the student. It happened yesterday actually. My buddy and I like to chat over Discord while attending classes. Yesterday we were discussing almost to the point of screaming about the NBA playoffs. I don't have any horse in that race since my Spurs didn't make it this year. But we were speculating which teams are going to make the finals. My bet was Lakers v Heat, and I made a very long and somewhat loud argument defending my prediction. That my whole class got to hear because I accidentally left the Zoom mic open. There was a very awkward silence followed by laughter from my classmates and my teacher, whose face screamed secondhand embarrassment. One of my classmates told me that they listened to me in silence for a solid 30 seconds before I realized. Not exactly a no shit moment, but one of my classmates was getting dogged and pestered by the teacher, and eventually just breaks and starts cussing her out with everything he's got. The teacher just falls silent and stares at him, and at the end he looks directly into the camera and says the most deadpan oopsie I've ever heard. That one girl on Twitter who forgot to change her name from Big to T bitch still makes me laugh. My favorite volunteer at my work always lists his name as Drive. Mitchell Zoom Daddy Smith during any sort of virtual meeting. Doesn't matter what platform we use. Zoom Daddy. If he ever stopped doing it, I would be devastated. This happened last semester, right when Zoom class started to be a thing. I think it was actually like my third day of online class. My cat tried to jump off a desk and onto the bed, but there was a towel underneath him, so he slipped and fell. I then proceeded to scream laugh at him, and within seconds, received a text message from my friend that my mic was on. In 8th grade our math teacher had this fancy new speaker and mic set installed in our classroom because apparently he had vocal cord issues and this way he could speak at a lower volume and not stress his voice box. So of course, he went to the bathroom and left his mic on. A class of 38th graders heard his entire bowel movement and bathroom ritual, including humming while washing his hands. The look on that poor man's face when he came back and realized the mic was on. Anyways, soon after he decided that due to technical issues he would no longer need the sound system and he just lectured normally. I'm 30 now and sometimes still feel bad for the guy. We were cruel. I had a fan sitting on my desk. I put my feet on my desk to sit comfortably. I accidentally kicked the fan of my desk. It fell on the floor with a loud bang. I was startled and cursed. Then I heard my teacher laughing and asking if everything was okay. I then realized I had my microphone and camera on, so they heard the bang and saw as well as heard me cursing. Good times. We were having a really boring / long class and the professors were giving out nonsense advice on our work. One of my friends turned around to where his mom was off screen and said, "This is the worst f***ing Zoom class I've ever taken." Everyone just went silent. 5 seconds later he realized he had left his mic on. I started talking to my dog Luke and telling him what a good boy he is when I realized that my mic was not the worst thing that could have happened but definitely embarrassing. Please tell me there was a Luke in your class embarrassed over you calling him a good boy. There are actually 2 Lukes, 3 including my doggo. One is my best friend, so it wasn't weird after I explained it to him, but the other one is a new student. Sorry for leaving that out. I didn't really reread my post cause I was still in class. It was me. Had a live lesson. Had to shit. Took phone to the toilet with me. Wi-Fi down so cold and you smile laptop. Everyone could hear my shit. Sorry man. That's really shitty. I'm sure he went flush in the face. Somebody was playing WAP in their background while asked a question. Being old I had to Google WAP. I was not prepared for those lyrics. We should warn you. Sorry. At the beginning of the semester I sent out an email with a joke about still having to wear pants for class over Zoom. It didn't occur to me that people may need to be reminded to wear shirts. And I really, truly, did not expect to have to send a notice to my students telling them not to smoke weed during class. Edit. For people complaining that it's their own house, it's illegal in this state. It's against school policy. And it's a recorded video everybody in the class has access to. All it takes is somebody passing it to the administration out of spite to cause problems. They need to not be ducking stupid and at least turn the camera off for 30 seconds. Even if it is legal, it should still be common sense. I mean, you wouldn't be taking a fat bong rip during a work meeting, so why should this be any different? Yeah, there is a difference between legal and appropriate. This one time I was in my app history class, and while the teacher was lecturing, one of my peers was doing the jerk without realizing that his camera was turned on. We didn't see his dick, but his hand was moving in a up and down motion. I don't think the teacher noticed him till he was done lecturing us on homework, when he calls out the student saying that his camera was turned on. He then said "oh shit" and left the class entirely. All of us were speechless and the teacher ended the meeting. Our teacher was explaining the gruesome details about the Holocaust and the millions that suffered through it, while someone was jerking off. Let that sink in. Why would anyone do that in a meeting? Even if the camera and mic were off? I don't know. I was like, bro, do it after class. Not right now. I always listen to music in the background. We were having an exam, and I put some Sense Deep House full volume for the entire test kit to find out at the end that I left my mic on. Weird that nobody, including the teacher, said something. That's hella distracting. Even if they enjoyed the music, it had to sound like shit through the computer. I guess everyone just shut their computer volume off. They may have muted her. One time, a kid thought their mic was muted and was talking serious shit about the teacher, making fun of the teacher's looks, claiming the teacher was balding, ugly, gross. It was so sad. We all accidentally talked shit about the kid who said the stuff about our teacher to get back at him. He ended up dropping the class this Monday. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.